I was 21 when I shot that first episode, and I just turned 30 this year. So it's been a long time.
Yeah. Well, it's an amazing show. And did you feel like the new girl? You an experienced actress, or was that all quite new to you, the whole TV series?
Oh yeah, no, I was brand new to television when I'd made a couple films, and I'd been acting in theater my whole life, but that was my first experience in television. And for Betty to make such a splash so quickly the way it did, I loved the show. I loved the character. I knew that had that TV show been on when I was a kid, I would have died to watch a show like that. But you can never be prepared for something to hit that way, that fast.
I mean, looking at you sitting here, I'm looking at you thinking, oh, aren't you pretty? Pretty with lovely skin. So how did you feel when you kind of got put up for a show that's called Ugly Betty?
Well, I think as an actor, it's all about the character, and she's such an amazing character, and I never thought Betty was ugly. I always thought I was quite cute, actually. But the title was always about perspective and about what other people saw when they looked at her, and so to me it was an honor to play her, and I'd do it all over again.
And I was saying, back to that clip there, that poncho was quite a fashion statement, wasn't it? Did you have any say in the kind of things she wore? Because some of them were quite crazy.
Yeah, we had a fabulous wardrobe designer, Pat Field, who actually did all the clothing for Sex and the City for the 6 years that was on, and she just had an amazing imagination and knew how far to push it, and also where the line was between just ugly and and fun, because Betty always was fun. She always had the best, most exciting clothing, and as crazy as she looked, she was always wearing designer clothes. I tried to take some of her clothes when the show was over, actually, but I never managed to put it together the way Pat did.
Well, it's amazing. I can't believe that it's 4 years ago. But I know you're here now because you're in How to Train Your Dragon 2, which is released on the 11th of July, and you are the voice of Astrid. This is the second time because you're in the first film as well. And so what's happened to Astrid since we've seen her last?
Well, all of the characters have grown 5 years, which I think is something quite unique in an animated movie, to see characters grow up. So they all look a little bit different. I look exactly like my character, as you can see.
I got to take my 2 little children, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It made me laugh. It made me really cry. My husband looked over at me and said, "Are you crying?" I can't say why, obviously, but I'm quite interested in the difference between animation and, obviously, being on screen yourself. Did you find it easier or more difficult just to be the voice?
It's a challenge. I mean, most of the time we're alone in a booth, no other actors. There are directors behind the glass reading all the other lines. And it's a challenge. You have to use your imagination, which is that clip you showed is my favorite part, because Astrid is she's so bold and she's so brave, and she's in the middle of the action, and I just think that that's such an amazing character for young girls to grow up watching.
Well, it's nice to see. They're equal, aren't they, her and Hiccup? I mean, he's not in charge, and she's a very feisty girl.
And that's happening a lot now in sort of cartoon movies, is that the women are really, it's great, isn't it?
They're strong now,
they're not all the kind of the weak little sidekick.
Yeah, I think it is a trend, and I hope it continues, because, when we're young is when we shape our views of the world. So for young girls to realize that women don't have to sit on the sidelines and be pretty and talk about boys, but can be in the middle of the action, I think is so important. Yeah.
Although it's quite fun to sit and talk about boys.
Well, it can be a part of it. There are other things.
Let's not lose that.
No, we don't have to lose any of it. She's fabulous looking. She's very fashionable, and she's, has the boyfriend, but she can also kick his butt. And
and you've done theatre as well, haven't you? You were Roxy Hart in Chicago.
Yeah.
Which do you prefer?
It's hard to say. I mean, I love all of it. I love TV, film, stage. To me, it's always the same job. You're telling a story, and whether that's, into a microphone or on stage, to me, it's all the same thing.
And do you come from background? Do you have actors in your family or your musical family? Where did all this desire to be an actor come from?
It's hard to say. I'm the youngest of 6 children, and I'm the only one who wanted anything to do with performing. So I feel a little bit like it was just something that I came into this world with. Like, I just loved doing it since I was very, very young.
Well, you're very, very good at it. I'm sure your family are very proud. We miss Ugly Betty. She's all grown up and beautiful now. We get some pretty fabulous guests here on Loose Women. There's plenty more where that came from. Just click here.
to watch more interviews with a whole range of famous faces. And click here to subscribe. It's free, so you'd be silly not to, really.